Hey, church, friends of the church, John here. I wanted to share with you a challenge that we introduced last Sunday and a challenge that I'm going to invite you to play along with us in. And in order to do that, I need to go inside of my bubble, my safe space. Are you ready? One. Did it? Did it? No. Okay, I am so sorry. All right, look. Every few years, we like to revisit Jesus' Great Commandment to love God with everything that we've got and to love our neighbor as ourself. And right now, we're exploring that in a teaching that we're calling Great Church. What does it look like to be a great church? And we believe that a great church is made up of great neighbors. There's just no way around it. Jesus calls his followers to neighbor love, and that includes, believe it or not, the folks that we live next to, our literal neighbors. So let me ask you a question that might be revealing. Who are the Christians in your neighborhood? Think about that for a second. And if you could name names, how do you know? Or, maybe even more revealing, flip that question around. Do your neighbors know that you are a Christian? If you are, do your neighbors know? And then how would they know? See, a great church has great neighbors who put on display the love of God so that when people who are longing to belong or hurting from trauma or searching for meaning, they have someone in their neighborhood that they know that they can reach out to and discover the Jesus way, the way of healing, of belonging, of new life. God put you in your neighborhood for a reason, beyond it was the place that you could afford or it had all the things that you wanted in a home. We believe that God has you there for a reason. So this week, when we talked on Sunday, we talked about our tendency to take the Great Commandment generally, that in our hearts we develop a neighborly love. But what happens when we try to generalize our love, we end up with a tendency to love everyone in general, but end up loving no one in particular. Does that make sense? So we're asking the question, what if we took the Great Commandment literally and invest time and relational resources pouring into the folks who live closest to us? That, yes, the Great Commandment indeed includes our actual neighbors. And so the tool that we're using that we introduced actually comes from this brilliant book called The Art of Neighboring by Jay Pathak and Dave Runyon. And it's a beautiful story about how they began the process of intentionally loving their actual neighbors. And in the book, they include a block map. And so we handed these out. They're also available on our website in PDF form. You could print them right out, crestcommunitychurch.org/happening now. And on that Happening Now tab, you'll just scroll down a bit and you'll see this challenge. Now, the block map is interesting. It represents your home in the middle and then 8 of your surrounding neighbors' homes around it. Now, we know that you don't probably live in the center of 8 homes. It would be really hard to leave your house. Instead, these just represent your nearest neighbors, the people who live around you. And in our challenge this week and the weeks to come, you're going to do 3 things. This is a 3-part challenge. A, what we invite you to do is write down the names of your 8 nearest neighbors, or the neighbors who live in the 8 nearest homes. Now, the first thing you'll do is just sit down with this block map and write down the names that you already know. So you know that there's Stacy and Todd around the corner, Aaron and Jamie live across the street, Alex the other direction. And those are the ones that you know. Now, some of you will get this far. Some of you won't. Some of you won't have any names on your block map, and that's okay. It actually makes you normal. Us West Coasters, we have a hard time knowing our neighbors' names and very little interest, to be honest, some of us. The challenge here is that you are going to go on a treasure hunt this week and the weeks to come to fill out as much of this block map as you can without being a creep. So take your dog for a walk, hang out in the front yard as a family, and be intentional with everybody who walks by. Say hi, engage them, get to know their name, and see how far you can go. B, the second part of the challenge is then, in addition to names, begin to fill in information. You might know some of it already, some general information about them and about their lives, what makes their life significant. So you know that Todd is a plumber and Stacy's a teacher. You know that Aaron's a hairdresser. In fact, they're both. Jamie's in school to be a hairdresser. You know that Alex is a single mom, and you just met Tony this week, right? So B is the stuff that you can't observe from their front lawn. You can't just say, oh, they're really good at growing roses. But what is it about them that you know? And if you don't know anything, get to know some general information about them through talking to them. Part 3 is actually a little harder. It's as you get to know names and a little bit of their story. What are these deeper parts of their story or their life journey that are significant to them? So-and-so is going to school. She has a dream of opening up a bakery in Riverside. Another person, they just lost their son and they're going through a really hard time. Tony's a salesperson. He's really funny. He has a great sense of humor. And then you're getting to know other people along the way as well. The trick is, this isn't just a ploy to get to know information about neighbors. It's actually a tool that you can begin to use to move into relationship with the people that God has called you into relationship to. But also, you get to use this map, post it on your refrigerator as a reminder to be praying for the people whose story you're learning. And it becomes a really great tool in this call to the Great Commandment, which is to love your neighbor as yourself. And it all boils down to, how do you move from being a stranger to being acquaintance? Well, you just learn someone's name. It's really that simple. And then how do you move then from just being an acquaintance to actually having a relationship? It's being curious about someone's story, investing your life into theirs, etc. So that's the challenge. It's the Great Commandment. Love the Lord your God with all of your heart and your soul and your strength and your mind, everything you've got. And love your neighbor as yourself. And if you would like to join us at Crest, we're trying to take this literally. And we would love for you to participate. Again, crestcommunitychurch.org/happeningnow. Click that tab, scroll down a bit. You can download your own PDF. Quite frankly, you could probably even create your own 9-square grid, put your home in the middle, and play with us. All right, hope to see you next time. See you Sunday. Bye.